Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Corey, what it do?
What's going on, baby? How you?
How you feeling? I'm good. I'm happy and excited that you are here.
Thanks a lot, man. Happy, excited myself, man.
So did I say your name correctly?
Yup, Corey.
Has it ever been mispronounced in the history of your life?
Nah.
Never.
Nah, it's quite simple to keep it Corey, man.
That's excellent that you don't have a name like I do, like
Right.
Khalid,
Yeah.
that gets mispronounced
Khalid.
Khalil, all day, every day. Kaylee, Kylie. Corey, it's almost impossible to mispronounce it.
Almost impossible.
So you've never had to deal with the torture and the agony, right? Okay. Well, what were some of your nicknames growing up?
Cook, Cordoz, Maxwell. They call me by my last name, so
Okay.
for the most part, those three.
Those three. Who called you Cook?
People where I grew up at.
People where you grew up. Okay. Okay. Who called you Cordoz?
Was, I used to rap.
Okay.
Still do here and there, so that was like my rap name, and people in the entertainment world call me that name. And Maxwell is like more so my family name. You know, people that went to school with me, you know you by last name, first name, so
Okay.
those names.
So you just said that people who call you Cook, if somebody calls you Cook, you like if you were in like Des Moines, Iowa right now, as you at the airport at a layover, somebody was like, or you might be there, somebody was like, yo, Cook, you know instantly that's somebody from your hood.
Absolutely.
Where are you from?
I'm from Camden, New Jersey.
Okay, do you claim a specific neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay, what neighborhood are you from?
Ablett Village Projects.
Ablett Village Projects, which is in East Camden. Would you consider that East or North Camden?
Man, it's tough to say.
Okay.
It's like literally, I'm literally away, probably 2-3 minutes away from each bridge that'll get me to certain sections of Camden. So
Okay.
it's just hard to say, you know. That's why we always say consider it AV.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ablett Village, just call it AV. How would you describe AV growing up?
Man, I grew up in the early '80s, and you know, AV is just like any other projects in Camden or you know any other urbanized place. Pretty rough. It was more so you know, projects like when you're in the projects, everybody knows who everybody is, so
Right.
more so family oriented. And,
Okay.
it was pretty good.
Now, when you say it was pretty rough, what do you mean?
Oh man, you know, it's seeing certain things that you ain't supposed to see at an early age, you know, or in life, period. You know what I mean?
Right. Example.
You know, drugs, prostitution, things of those natures. So it's pretty rough, man.
Okay.
Pretty rough.
With that being said, did you ever feel unsafe in your own neighborhood?
At times, yeah.
Okay.
At times, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you an only child?
No. I had a brother and a sister I grew up with.
Okay. So you grew up with them. So I want you to, are you the oldest, the youngest, or in the middle?
Middle child.
You're the middle child. Okay. Okay. Question. So I want you to imagine that you are 10 years old. If you're 10 years old, how old are your siblings?
If I'm 10, sister's gotta be, she's the youngest, so I wanna say she's about maybe 2.
Okay.
My brother's probably about 18.
Wow, so you're you're perfectly in the middle. Your brother's 8 years older than you are, and you're 8 years older than your little sister.
Yep.
Interesting. So what was that like growing up?
Man.
You're a true middle child, like no jokes.
How was that growing up? I wanna say it was different, man. Kind of complicated at times, you know what I mean? I didn't really have a brother that was close to me in age, so you know that age bracket is pretty different, you know what I mean? And little sister, she's way younger than me too, so it's like, you know, kind of like growing up by yourself, but not growing up by yourself.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
You know, but that age bracket is pretty difficult.
When you're in the street and it's really time for it to go down, you really don't have anybody.
Nah, absolutely.
Your older brother is
my older brother. They're gonna be like, well, your brother too big to be.
Right. Like he all old.
And little sister, you know what I mean? Like I can't play with her. Like first of all, she's a girl. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the age bracket, you know, so it's kind of like difficult. You know, it's kind of like growing up by yourself, but like I said, it's kind of like not growing up by yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. So you were kind of like an only child, but not an only child.
Right. If it makes sense. But
Does that mean that you were spoiled, or did you feel slighted, or like looking back, how what do you think?
I kind of feel slighted.
Slighted, right?
You kind of feel slighted.
Because you weren't spoiled because you were the youngest. You were the youngest at one point.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. For a while, I was the youngest.
Right.
Actually.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, it was kind of different. You know, kind of felt slighted. You know, but it worked out.
Okay.
It wasn't too bad.
Did you grow up with both parents?
No.
So did you live with either your mom or your dad?
Lived with my mother.
Live with your mother. Okay.
Father was always present, but you know, lived with my mother.
Did you ever live with both parents?
No.
Never.
Not to my knowledge. Maybe, let me rephrase that. I think my mom said I was about 3 when my dad left.
Okay.
About 3. So, but I don't have a remembrance of that. But,
Let me ask you this question. Now looking back, now that you're a grown man, do you feel like that affected you personally with your dad?
Absolutely.
How so?
Yeah. Your mother has to raise you, and as they say, your mother can't raise a man.
Right.
You know, they can try their best to, which she did. You know what I mean? But ultimately, not growing up with a dad definitely affects you, man. Definitely affects you. Gotta learn how to pee straight by yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
You know, just figuring out man things. You know what I mean? Had to figure that out pretty much by myself, or you know, looking to other people that had dads. You know, other relatives. You know what I mean? That might have been close to me. You know, as far as like uncles, leaned on them a little bit. And like I said, you know, just other males that were present in my life.
You got any males you want to give a shout out? Like any of the uncles?
Yeah, I give a shout out to my dad, man. Absolutely, because it was rough for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
To raise a kid that, you know, he wasn't in the same house as. You know, so I'll give a shout out to my dad for that.
What was your dad's name?
My dad's name is Martin Maxwell.
Okay.
They called him Maxwell as well, like they called me, or Max for sure.
Okay. And what's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Sheila, but she was called Cookie for my whole life.
Shout out to Aunt Cookie and Mr. Martin.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Shout out to those.
What was your relationship with both of them? So before you answer that question, you live with your mother, but your dad was always present. How often would you say you saw him? Was it daily? Was it weekly? Once a month?
Probably on a once a month basis, you know.
Okay.
Or whenever my mom would call him when I was showing off.
Right.
You know,
you gotta be on the phone with your dad.
Absolutely. Or he would show up. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was always present.
He would randomly show up. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my dad, you know, I grew up, like I said, in the projects. So,
Right.
My dad was like the foreman of the housing projects in Camden. So
Really?
I seen my dad. Yeah, I seen my dad a lot, man.
Okay.
I seen my dad a lot. Yeah.
How would you? So you pick the one that you want to start with. How would you describe your relationship with both of your parents?
I'll describe my relationship with my mother first.
How was your relationship with her growing up?
Pretty rough. You know, like I said, a woman raising a young male in an urbanized community is pretty rough, man. Pretty rough. But for the most part, my mom was always, like I said, always in my life. So I really don't have no bad complaints, man. I was raised in a good house. You know what I mean? As far as living in Camden, where it was rough at, you know, like I said, early '80s. You know, the crack era is definitely taking off. So it was okay, man. It was okay. It was rough, but it was okay.
Okay.
It was okay. Yep.
How would you describe your relationship with your pop?
Relationship with my pops it's the same. You know, like I said, he wasn't present every day. You know what I mean? But he was present. You know, so I always had his number. He always had mine. You know what I mean? Like I said, I seen him. He seen me, and it was that.
Okay. Now, you said that your dad was very quiet, like Michael Jackson quiet. Didn't really talk much.
To this day, I'm 40 years old. I never heard my dad raise his voice.
Ever?
Never heard. And people that know my dad say they never heard my dad raise his voice, man. Like, my dad is always a low-key, quiet guy.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And you said that your mom and you and your mom butt heads a lot because, for the most part, because you were hard-headed.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But nothing on her part, man. It was me, man, knuckleheading, you know. Just growing up, like I said, in Camden, in the projects in early 80s, you know, I was a knucklehead, man. I was a knucklehead.
Hear that. Did you ultimately become a parent?
Absolutely.
Yourself?
I
Okay.
became a parent at the age of 20.
How many beautiful seeds do you have?
I was blessed biologically to have 3 kids, and I fathered 2 others.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are their age ranges?
Rest in peace to my stepdaughter. She passed. She would be, I want to say, about 24 right now.
Okay. Condolences, by the way.
Thank you. My firstborn, she's 20.
Okay.
My secondborn is 16 right now, and my youngest is 8. And when I met my wife, I'm married, she was 7 months pregnant. So my son is 18 right now.
All right, so let's talk about that. Now that you became a parent, you know how your parents raised you because you were there. What would you say are some similarities and differences between your parents' parenting style with you and your parenting style?
I would like to say the similarities are present as far as like my mom was with me, with my kids. I was kind of rough on my kids, you know, making sure that they did the right thing because I did the wrong things at times. So
Okay.
I learned a lot from my mom. As far as parenting goes, like I said, I'm always in my kids' faces and their business. You know what I mean? I want to be in my kids' life as much as possible and know what they're doing on a daily basis because it's hard parenting. Nobody has a manual on parenting. So I want to say I learned a lot from my mom. I learned a lot from my dad too. You know?
Okay. Okay.
It's for the most part, you know, my dad was quiet, so he never really raised his voice. So I try to, you know, take each thing from, you know, different parents. You know.
So you're not a yeller?
Yeah, I'm a yeller, but I try to rationalize, you know, I keep it, you know, copacetic.
Got it. What are some differences?
Differences, I'm gonna say, I'm more, I wanna say, low-key than what my mom was.
Okay.
You know, my mom, you know, it was hard, like I said, raising a boy in the urbanized community in Camden. So, you know, like I said, some of the differences, you know, I try not to yell as much. My mom was a yeller because I was a knucklehead, but I don't yell as much. That's basically it, the only difference.
Okay. Now, speaking of growing up in the hood, bet you don't remember all the schools you went to?
Absolutely remember all the schools.
Okay, let's go. Kindergarten, go.
Kindergarten, I want to say I went to Powell.
Okay, K through what?
K through 5th grade.
Okay, and Powell isn't there anymore?
Nah, it was
Okay.
on 10th and Linden in Camden.
Where's 10th and Linden?
North Camden.
North Camden,
Yep,
okay.
It's like a police substation right now.
It got converted to a police substation. How far did you walk to school?
Yes.
How far a walk was it?
Maybe 15 minutes at the most.
Okay.
At the most.
Okay. Now, you are from AV, Ablett Village. Do you have to walk through another neighborhood to get to school?
North Camden.
You have to walk through North Camden. Okay. What was that experience? What was it like walking back and forth through North Camden through a hood that's not yours? And what was your elementary experience like, if you recall?
Elementary, early 80s. That was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. But walking through North Camden, that's different. It was different.
How so?
We talking early 80s to the about 91.
Okay.
It's 5th grade. That was rough. We talking about gangs. Gangs heavily populated Camden in that era. You got Fruit Posse, Sons of Malcolm X. That's legendary.
Right.
That was rough.
The Sons of Malcolm X was a legendary North Camden gang.
Absolutely.
In fact, the rumor was, and it might be true, it might not be a rumor, was that in order to get into the Sons of Malcolm X, you had to kill somebody.
Yeah, that was what I heard. Yeah, it was rough, man. They, you know, killed people randomly, man. That was different, man.
Right.
It was different. It was rough. It was rough. Walking through North Camden in the early 80s, and to the 90s. Crack valves, killings. I seen my first dead body, I want to say, in about the 5th grade.
Okay.
And that was, from the Sons of Malcolm X, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was different.
And this was walking to or from school?
This was after school, so I seen it actually after school.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you finish at Powell
School in 91, and from there I went to Pine Point.
Okay.
Pine Point.
Where's Pine Point?
And that's in North Camden.
That's also in North Camden. Okay. What was your Pine Point experience like?
I went there 1 year, 6th grade.
6th grade. Okay.
It was pretty good, because I knew all the people from going to elementary school in North
Okay.
Camden.
So everybody from Powell went to Pine Point.
So I
Okay.
knew pretty much everybody there. It was
Okay.
cool.
So it was kind of like the same for you. How far was it? Is Pine Point from Powell?
5 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's the same walk. Okay.
Absolutely.
Got it. So you only did 6th grade at Pine Point.
From there, I transferred to Kramer Hill section of Camden, and that was Veterans Memorial Middle School.
Why'd you transfer? Do you remember?
Wanted to.
You wanted to?
Yeah.
Why?
Wanted to, all of the people I grew up with in Ablett Village went to Kramer Hill School, so they went to vets.
So how did you go to Pine Point?
Just that was the school that Powell School went to Pine Point. So,
Okay.
But like I said, it was a couple-minute walk, so I was close to Vets Middle School as well. So I asked my mom, "Can I go there?" And she.
Because the rest of all your boys from the hood were
Right.
going to vets.
Right. Yep.
Okay, got it. So you get the vets, and it's not just the kids from AV in North Camden anymore.
Nah.
All right, so what neighborhoods go to vets?
East Camden kids, Kramer Hill kids.
East Camden and Kramer Hill kids.
Yep.
Okay, so now it's not just the kids that you know anymore. It's a whole set of new kids.
Yeah, that was different.
What was that experience
That
like?
was different.
And this is 7th or 8th grade? Okay.
I had to fit in. I had to fit in up there. It was different. North Camden and Kramer Hill, two different entities in Camden.
How so?
I want to say Kramer Hill was not as rough as North Camden was, but it was pretty rough, but not as rough as North Camden.
Did you have to deal with any teams and
Yeah, absolutely.
who did you have to deal with?
I'm from a project, and
Right.
Kramer Hill is more so like a section of Camden. So,
Right.
That kind of clashed. I had to.
I interviewed somebody else, and they who was from Kramer Hill. They said they had to deal with 32nd Street, and they called themselves
Hill,
Trey Deuce.
Deuce.
Right.
Trey Deuce,
So Trey Deuce does in fact exist.
Yeah. But I want to say that was pretty easy for me because people from AV affiliated with Kramer Hill people, so I had a green light.
Okay.
What you would call it in growing up in the urbanized and
Right.
community. You get a green light.
So you ain't have any problems with Trey Deuce?
Not at all.
Okay.
I knew him.
Okay. So was Trey Deuce the main team there?
In Kramer Hill, absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it was Trey Deuce and AV. Okay. So with that being said, once you got past the social aspect of it, how was it academically? How were you doing in school?
I want to say about a C average kid.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I couldn't stand math. Never could catch math. But other than that, I was pretty decent in school.
So 9 times out of 10, excuse me, the C average students, they can do other stuff. So it's like, if you take a class of, let's say a class of 20 kids, or when you're from the hood, a class of 30 kids. So you got your 5 kids in the class who are just naturally smart. You could put them in any
CHIPS
environment.
program. You remember CHIPS program?
I do remember. I was in it. I was in the CHIPS program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I wanted to be a part of that. 'Cause it wasn't good enough. But I had people that, like you said, the 5 or 6 that were smart. They academically.
They could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And excel.
They were called the AT kids, right?
Okay, right.
Academically talented. Yep.
So you got those 5 in every class, no matter in America. Then you got it's a 30-kid class, so 25 kids left. Then you got the bottom 5 who really don't care about school. Period. You always got those 5.
I fluctuated from that 5 to the middle.
To the middle. So let's talk about the kids in the middle. The kids in the middle are like that B-, D+ students. The kids in the middle. They typically do other stuff. Like you got the one kid in your class who's a great artist. You got the one kid in your class who loves to work on cars. You got the one girl in your class who loves to do hair. You got the 2 or 3 kids in the class who are in the band. You got the kid in the class who wants
Basketball, athletic.
the athletes, the basketball players, the track stars, the kids in the middle. The kid you know is going to wind up being a janitor, which is fine, which is fine. Just someday try to own that janitorial company.
Right.
You got everybody else in the middle. The kid who's going to be a manager at McDonald's or Walmart. What was it that you like to do?